So I think I may have fixed my issues. I restarted the router. I've lowered the bitrate. I went as far as to uninstall a couple of programs on my PC, including GeForce Experience, which I kind of needed at some point, but now I realize I don't actually need GeForce Experience as long as I continuously update my drivers every now and then. Just checking through some necessary settings one last time. But overall, the stream looks stable. The stream looks healthy. I actually started the stream a couple of minutes ago, like 10 minutes ago. I didn't actually officially start it, I just pressed the start streaming button on OBS, and then I would need to do a double confirmation on YouTube by pressing start stream there in order to officially start the stream. But when I started the stream on OBS 10 minutes ago, I immediately got a bunch of dropped frames, so everything was like going crazy. That was when I decided, okay, I need to uninstall some programs. Alright, so we're back. This is technically point 2 of this session because I had a lot of connection issues. Yes, technology is incredibly complicated and I hate it sometimes. It's wonderful to be able to do this type of stuff, but by gosh, for someone like me who is so scatterbrained, I hate dealing with technology. This just further cements the passion that I have to want to update my whole system in general. I am going to get a new NVIDIA GPU. I am going to get cleaning. And there it goes again! Yep, I got another disconnection. It was only for a split second, but I had the OBS window open and I saw it. Alright. If that's the case, I'm gonna have to lower my settings even further. You guys probably won't be able to see much, but I am going to lower the bitrate to, at the very least, 3,800 kilobytes. So that's fine. I could also lower the tuning to low latency instead of high quality, but I'm not sure how that would ultimately affect everything. I'm gonna try it anyways, just to test it out. Maybe that'll do something. Oh, it definitely did something. Okay, we should be fine. We technically did not get any dropped frames though, according to OBS, but I saw the notification. It said that, it said that I had a disconnection. Well, be that as it may. Yeah, the stream is just gonna be Gensokyo Chronicles ASMR. Pretty much. Like, I don't really need to worry about the quality more so. The issue is that later streams I will have to worry about that, but that'll come later on. I'm hoping that once I can figure out how to ultimately change my Wi-Fi password to ensure that only I and a certain other person in my house are able to only use the Wi-Fi, then the bitrate might be able to save my PC from constantly disconnecting. But be that as it may, I have a decent bitrate at the moment. It's not spiking, and my settings don't look that bad. Alright, let us continue then with some more Gensokyo Chronicles. We were... okay, so before we got the disconnection, we were reading through Patchouli's article. Page 57 to 59, and we were supposed to get all the way to page 80 by the end of the night. Alright, I'm in it for the long haul. Let's do it. Oh yeah, gameplay stream needs those bit rates. Yeah, especially the Touhou streams, where bitrate is very important if you want to actually see what's going on when characters are shooting their Danmaku all over the place. Again, we're probably just going to have to sacrifice the overall quality of streams going forward, at least until I can update my software, which should be about 2 months from now, if I can scrounge up enough money. I already stated this earlier, but I'm probably not going to be able to make it to Touhou Fest this year, mostly due to the fact that we've had a lot of complications where I'm at, so money is a little tight at the moment. But I will definitely be starting my fundraising for next year, and hopefully they have some good guest stars for the 2025 version. I'm looking forward to that at the very least. Alright, so without further ado, we were reading about Patchouli's abilities, so let's start from there. Abilities. She is a magician's magician, able to cast various sorts of magic. She mainly uses elemental magic. Elemental magic borrows on the power of fairies and spirits to result in an output greatly exceeding the small input. This is an interesting factoid, because I never took Patchouli as the type to harness the power of fairies and spirits. I always thought that her magic was, quite frankly, natural, since she is a born magician. She never was a human, so I would think that her magic came from her own self entirely. But it seems to me that her magic is harnessed from the natural elements and forces, which, I guess considering she uses elemental magic, makes the most amount of sense. She mainly uses elemental magic. Elemental magic is comprised of 7 varieties: wood for life and awakening, fire for change and movement, earth for foundation and immobility, metal for wealth and abundance, water for silence and purification, sun for activity and offense, and moon for passivity and defense. The elements that are associated with each day on the week calendar, as well as 5 of these elements, are comprised from the Chinese elemental zodiac. Sun and moon are the only outliners though, as they aren't elements in that particular elemental chart. While being able to use magic from all these elements, the surprising part is that it seems she is able to cast spells that combine 2 or more elements. Moreover, variations are extraordinarily abundant. She can combine fire and wood to increase her power, or combine fire and earth to cover her weaknesses, and much more. So there's a lot of practicalities when it comes to her magic. It's not just, I am going to cast a fire spell on you. No, I can also mix it with water to do something really crazy or something like that. Fire and water would ultimately probably create some sort of steam magic, which, again, the possibilities for her combined magic is pretty endless when you think about it. Grimoires in the Great Library. Grimoires, or magic books, are not simply books, but are magical items with magic power sealed inside. Their contents are not simply directions on how to cast magic, but the secret keys to use the magic itself, or to the use of the magic itself. So the books are basically the essence of the magic that you would cast with it. Hence why the grimoire of Alice that she carries around all over the place is seeped with incredible power, incredible magic. It's a type of magic that you can only get from the grimoire itself. In theory, anyone could cast a spell if they had the appropriate magical book, but without finding the key inside, it would not be possible to understand what is written within. One cannot find the key if they do not possess equal or greater strength than the person who wrote the grimoire. The letters written in the book are not the system used by humans. but are said to be the Divine Era Hiragana, or perhaps the original Japanese writing system. Ooh, okay. So anyone who is foreign would probably not be able to use any of these grimoires whatsoever. Although, considering the fact that there is a character that will be introduced later on in the franchise that is able to decipher any sort of language and writing within any sort of medium, and I'm sure anyone who knows their Touhous probably knows who I'm talking about, that begs the question, could they potentially wield this great magic from magical grimoires if they really, if they had access to these grimoires? And the question is, maybe, because I haven't read that series yet. So if she goes outside, she might be stronger magically, but her physical body just couldn't handle it. Yeah, it makes sense as to why she is considered a shut-in, because she purposefully doesn't want herself to be outside due to the fact that magicians... There goes the connection again! Also, I have my sound activated, so it actually tells me when that notification pops up. Although for some strange reason, I look at OBS again, and it's saying I've gotten no dropped frames whatsoever. Is this thing lying to me or something? I would assume not. Strange. You know what? I'm going to do... I did something last time I streamed. I fiddled with my VTuber settings. Maybe that might be causing the issues that I'm having today. Let me just go to my VTuber app. Open settings window. Yeah, I have the transparency off. Always in the foreground. So technically I can always see the VTuber model now that I have that setting enabled, which shouldn't be messing with my bitrate or connection whatsoever, but eh. It's the only thing I can think of changing to possibly fix my disconnection issue. Okay. If it disconnects again, I'll probably have to lower the settings for the stream even more. But for now, I think we're fine. Honestly, a lot of Touhou's questions and answers are maybe with how vague some of the info can be. Indeed. Where was I? While being able to use magic... Oh, we were in the Grimoire, the Great Library. Right. There are many magical books she has written, as well as many that no one has been able to read. The library holds a great many books besides magic books as well. Most of the materials consist of books from the outside world. We have a notation too. Gensokyo's books are primarily handwritten. There are few properly bound and published books. Which means these must be books that Patchouli herself might have written? Or maybe another character, perhaps? Eyewitness reports. In quote, "The library reeks of mold, daze." End quote. Marisa Kirisame. Of course she would say that. Since Japan is quite humid, archives are typically built in well-ventilated areas. Since the Scarlet Devil Mansion is a Western-style building, it may not have been made with Japanese climates in mind. Quote, "There's the occasional book that is readable sometimes," end quote. Reimu Hakure. One can read a book from the outside world just like any other book. I would also like to try reading one. Ooh. Countermeasures. The characteristics of elemental magic is to create great effects from a small amount of power, but there are flaws to this approach. That is because each element has its own weak point. This applies to her magic as well. If by some chance you end up in a battle with her, you must stay alert to which element of magic she is using while fighting her. But since she seldom leaves the Scarlet Devil Mansion, battles with her are extremely rare. As long as you do not break into it, there will be no chances of fighting her. Well, too bad for Marissa. In addition, her physical condition is poorer than that of a human's, since she is asthmatic, or asthmatic. She can't exert herself too much, lest it becomes difficult to breathe. This places her in an unusual category among yokai. Notation 3. As is characteristics for a magician, she can speak extremely quickly in a low voice. It's suffocating to watch her speak so quickly even with asthma. Yeah, I would bet. So yeah, that's an interesting factoid about Patchouli. She suffers from asthma, which just further reduces her physical capabilities even further than what a normal magician would have. Makes it even worse in that, the process of casting a magic requires you to cast an enchantment spell, which requires verbally speaking out the spell. Although Patchouli does seem to have a talent of being able to chant multiple spells at the same time, which is why she's able to, which basically is the logic for her being able to mix spell elements together. Lol, says the magician with a messy house. You know what? I didn't even make that correlation. Oh, Marissa. You adorable hypocrite. Now, the thing about it is that we only have two magicians in the franchise at this point in time. So Patchouli and Alice were the only ones in that encyclopedia category. Now we're moving on to the Beast Yokai. The Encyclopedia Beast Yokai. Animals with exceptional power and wisdom. Beast Yokai. Their usual threat level is high, and their frequency of encounter is medium. Variety is high because there's a lot of animals out there. Places likely to be encountered anywhere, and times likely to be encountered anytime. We should probably just get rid of these places likely to be encountered portions, because it is always just going to be anywhere and anytime. She'd be a sick rapper, literally and metaphorically. I remember this one fan-made Touhou song, I think it was called Purple Rain, but it basically had Patchouli and Alice doing a rap battle. It was one of the earliest Touhou fan animation / music videos, and I remember it being really good. Characteristics. Though at first glance they seem to be regular animals, these creatures are intelligent enough to understand human speech and have extraordinary physical abilities. Some of them can also use sorcery. This kind of creature is termed a beast yokai. Many of them act as leaders for ordinary animals. A defining feature of beast yokai is that they are corporally inclined. Their physical prowess is outstanding, but should their bodies be destroyed, they will have great difficulty regenerating, as opposed to other yokai who seem to have an easy time regenerating themselves. Swift feet, the ability to jump high, having great strength and being able to see even in the dark, to see and hear things from afar, having delicious meals, etc., etc. I mean, okay, just like normal animals, I guess. Yeah, let's go animal girls! Unlike normal yokai, they're resistant against mental attacks. Or they are resistant against mental attacks. That's a full sentence. Okay. They're airheads. Yeah, apparently they're able to resist against mental attacks just because of the fact that they're idiots. Okay. I can relate. Ordinarily, their appearance, disposition, and abilities are heavily influenced by the animal from which they originated. They feel a strong sense of solidarity with the rest of their respected species, and will tolerate no harm to any of their kind. Or kin, actually. I was gonna make the joke at the end of this characteristics page that, oh wow, I didn't realize all of the animal-themed Touhou characters were really into kinning. But hey, the book made that reference for me, so. We really are just reading a etymology about furries, aren't we? Their diet tends to be omnivorous, with a preference for meat. I'm gonna restart that. Their diet tends to be omnivorous with a preference for meat, especially human flesh. It is said that an animal that has eaten enough virtuous humans becomes a beast yokai. Notation 3. Monks who've done a lot of training would be suitable targets. Oh, well, look at that. A reference to the fact that a beast yokai can gain yokai status by devouring virtuous humans, aka monks. This is a factoid that was used to explain a character's origin story all the way up to Touhou 19. And this book was made around the time where Touhou 9 was released. I'm surprised that Zune remembered that little factoid and used it for one of his characters. Specifically, Enoko, the dog character, who... she's a Yamainu, a mountain dog, who has connections to Marissa. In her backstory, as I read in the Omage text when I played Touhou 19, she apparently ate the body of Zanmu, who used to be a human monk. So I guess this text explains that that's been a logical thing since early on into the series. And I love the fact that Zune can remember this type of information with his series and franchise. The lore that he's created is not forgotten on him, and he tends to pull from even the most obscure sources, aka this book. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that he knows what he's writing, he knows his world better than anyone, and he takes inspiration from even the stuff that he created all the way back then. Yeah, indeed, it's a good callback. But Zanmu is not remotely a virtuous person. Well, she may necessarily have not been a virtuous person once she became an Oni, but she might have been virtuous back in the day when she was a monk. Well, actually, it was officially stated that she fought against people. So maybe she wasn't as virtuous as you would think, but she was still a pretty powerful character, a pretty powerful human. So I guess that residual power must have, in turn, empowered Enoko. So where were we? Notation 3, right. Many of them are ferocious, and since the ferocity of encountering one is somewhat high, you must be careful of this type of yokai. Also, more tails generally mean higher yokai power, so you can use this to estimate their strength. Hence why the Nine Tails Kitsune having 9 tails is a symbol of not only their wisdom and age, but also their power. Chen having 2 tails is very similar to that as well. Potential harm. Injury and predation. Most of their danger comes from direct attacks, even if they can only scratch with even if they can only scratch with sharp claws or bite with their teeth, they are still a threat to humans. I mean, so are normal animals who are able to scratch and bite. So it's pretty synonymous. It's possible to be injured even if you don't directly get involved with beast yokai. For example, if you catch a rabbit, a yokai rabbit may take revenge on you if it notices. Oof. Also, you must be even more careful of beast yokai that can use sorcery. You can't win with these people. Especially if you're a hunter. Being a hunter is like the worst job in Gensokyo, apparently. Countermeasures. Because of the difference in physical abilities, humans are at an overwhelming disadvantage in a frontal attack. However, because they tend to lack intelligence, they often fall into traps set by humans. Sometimes they'll get caught in rabbit traps. If one of them is threatening to fight you, it's probably because it's hungry. If you have food on hand, there's a good chance you can escape by offering it to them and running. In worst case, if you don't have any food on hand, or you meet them one after another, and you've just given away your food, all you can do is pray. Alright, and we're moving on to the most adorable animal. Oh, never mind. The most adorable animals next. Unfortunately, we have Chen. I'm kidding. I like Chen. She's cute. She's adorable. Never forget the honking Chen meme. That is iconic and always will be. I love the badass pose she's rocking, too. Black Cat of Bad Omens. Chin. She doesn't even have a last name. It's not Chen Yakumo. It's just Chen. Zune also said in the Touhou exhibition that Ran's tails are her ram sticks. Oh my gosh. Just further cementing the idea that Shikigamis are nothing more but supercomputers with really impressive AIs. I love that factoid. Enoko.
I vast, and in number and in fluffiness both.
I mean, to be honest, no one will be as fluffy as Ran. I mean, have you seen her tails? They're massive! Chen. Ability. Use of sorcery. Threat level, medium. Human friendship level, normal. Oh, that's nice. Main place of activity, animal trails and yokai mountain. Referencing the yokai mountain at this point in the franchise, I say. A Bakaneko whose appearance and threat level are the most standard of the yokai beasts. Even so, Chen is also a Shikigami in the service to Ran Yakumo. Explain later. Note number 1, Shikigami aren't a particular class of yokai, but is more like a software that are put on them. When the software runs, we write that here as being possessed. Okay. Yeah, just further cementing the logic. Which, when you really think about the whole context of concept of Shikigamis, it does make sense to refer to them as softwares and supercomputers because of the fact that you can program a Shikigami to do your bidding, hence why summoners are known for using Shikigami as their servants. The Shikigami are specifically the paper that's around the corporeal form. Hence why Ran Yakumo's hat is covered in a bunch of talismans. I don't know Chen, though. Chen doesn't really seem to have any sort of talismans or paper wrapped around her, which is probably why she's not a very good Shikigami. Or, maybe it's under the dress or something. No, I don't want to think about that. Where were we? She is a classic Bakaneko with long claws and 2 long tails. Note number 2. It's unknown whether she has paws. Well, it's my headcanon that she does. That's why she wears shoes, to hide them. While possessed in a Shikigami state, she can use various kinds of sorcery and is extremely dangerous, but is weak to water. Oh, is it because she's, is it because the Shikigami is paper? Or is it because she's a cat? Might be both, actually. If she is doused in water, she will cease to be a Shikigami and become a normal Bakaneko. Oof! As a normal Bakaneko, she'll become more feral and resort to more physical means such as biting and clawing, but she still hates water. If you douse her again, her movement will further falter. She looks the same as a Shikigami and as a Bakaneko. She appears smart because she is capable of understanding human speech and uses various kinds of sorcery when possessed. But in reality, she possesses the intellect of a human child at about the age she appears. So, yeah, okay, she is supposed to look like a child. She spends most of her time on Yokai Mountain, and occasionally comes down to the human village to attack people. Isn't that just a great life? However, it is said she follows the will of Ran Yakumo and Yukari Yakumo when she is serving as a Shikigami. So that begs the question, when exactly is she serving as the Shikigami? Since she clearly is able to roam about however she pleases. Maybe it's because she's a Shikigami in training, possibly? That's the implication that I'm getting. Being a Shikigami is kind of like being an Agent Smith. Sort of, yeah. You're under the employment of someone who you count as your superior, and you follow their orders to a T. Chen's weakness, bathtubs. Yeah, pretty much. Oh man, if Chen and Wakasaki Hime ever got into a battle, that would be big. Chen would be like, finally, a worthy opponent. And then she'd get hit by water and then immediately die. Like, I can just imagine as soon as she gets doused by water, she's just in the Yamcha pose. Did not know that was her weakness. Oh man, that makes Chen even cuter now that I think about it, because she really is just like a big fluffy cat. She just hates water. She hates water, and when you get her wet, she just resorts to biting and clawing you. Eyewitness reports. Quote, there was a huge cat lying inside the kotatsu. It was about as big as a person. No, really. End quote. Anonymous. Cats curl up under the kotatsu in winter. Aw. Quote, a bunch of cats that had gathered behind our house. We splashed them with water and they ran off. End quote. Anonymous. Seems the cat assembled regularly when people aren't watching. It appears that the leader of these gatherings is this Bakeneko. It's just Ken and her army of tiny cats. Oh hey, Druid! You came back, we're just talking about the cat character. You know, I could see you liking this character too. She's literally just a cat. She's weak to water, but she's also really powerful. Until you get her wet, of course. Not in that way. Not in the way you're thinking. Quote, sometimes the pillar on our houses are all scattered up, or all scratched up. I bet it's because of this Bakeneko, end quote. She might be sharpening her claws, but one among the class, a Bakeneko, would probably just use nail clippers or scissors. That seems so mundane, though. I guess if you have a human body, there's no reason to really use your claws for something so mundane. Countermeasures. Bakeneko are very nimble and they're also quite strong. If she is serious in a fight, even running away would be difficult. However, she has many weaknesses. First, she hates water. She won't go out if it's raining, like the vampires. And if you run out in the middle of a river, she probably wouldn't pursue. She's also weak against catnip. If you sprinkle some dried catnip around, she'll quickly lose all interest in fighting. It's probably best to keep some dried catnip with you if you have to walk down animal trails. The types of sorcery she uses focus on using speed and tricky movements to confuse her opponents. For example, if you think you see her dash off to the left, she'll attack from the right. This is a technique that relies on speed and precise movement, so it's very similar to the sleight of hand. Notation 3. When she starts moving to the left and then returns to the right at high speed, she moves so quickly humans lose sight of her, which makes it appear to be instant teleportation. Yeah, you know, the anime version of instant teleportation, you're just running really, really fast, and there's like speed lines around you. That's pretty much what it seems. Oh my gosh, she's so fluffy! I like the fact that she's in her spinning pose. And you can clearly see the outline of the ears underneath her cap. Yeah. Ran is certainly as cute as she always is. Her cats never listen to her though. Aya tried to advise her, but it gets over her head every time. She's the same as her own cats. They are kind of scatterbrained apparently. Alright. Scheming Nine-Tailed Fox. Oh, if only we had Scar here. He would enjoy this. Ran Yakumo. Ability. Use of Shikigami. Really? That's her ability? Okay. Threat level high. Human friendship level normal. That means we can cuddle her. Main place of activity? Anywhere. Because it always is anywhere. It is said that the more tails a beast has, the more powerful it is. And the longer they are, the more clever it becomes. The widely regarded authority among beasts is this nine-tailed fox yokai, Ran Yakumo. Notation 1. This name is one given by her master, Yukari. Her real name is unknown. Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting factoid in that Ran Yakumo is not actually her real name. Even though some people do seem to refer to her as Ran when she returns to the animal realm in Touhou 19. Might be an oversight, I'm not sure. maybe Ran is her original name, but her last name is unknown, and was eventually changed to Yakumo when she eventually became employed under Yukari. But that's all speculation from here. A fox with 9 large tails, her prestigious pedigree displays her divinity. I love that. I love the way that's phrased. The one who has enslaved the strongest of the beasts and uses her for various mundane tasks is the strongest yokai, Yukari Yakumo. Therefore, they're an unbeatable pair. Ran is Yukari's Shikigami. As a Shikigami, Ran must do whatever Yukari commands, but she is also capable of using Shikigami of her own, hence why a Shikigami using a Shikigami. Ran's Shikigami is Chen, however Chen is too unreliable for Ran to depend on. Ran is incredibly intelligent and especially good at mathematics. It is said that she is capable of doing complex calculations far above anything a human can attempt in an instant, and way beyond anything I can do. However, her forte is the analysis of existing phenomena, rather than that of new concepts. Notation 3. Shikigami on the outside world are called supercomputers, and it is said to be used for similar purposes. So we're really just going into it, huh? I don't know, guys. I feel like I need to upgrade my Shikigami. It's just not running the way it used to. If only my supercomputer was a giant bushy fox. You know, I would love that. I wonder what type of Shikigami you guys have. Where were we? Right, notation 3. She lives in the same house as Yukari Yakumo and appears in Gensokyo in her place. She does all the work for Yukari whenever Yukari is sleeping. Eyewitness reports. Quote, "That fox came here a while ago to buy some fried tofu. She probably paid for it and everything, even though she's an animal." Unquote. Tofu shop owner. "Once you reach a certain level of intelligence, you feel ashamed at acts such as theft. I guess that's true. This is true for both humans and yokai." Wait, is that a diss on Marissa not being intelligent? I see what you're doing here, Akyuu. Quote, "Lately, a 9-tailed fox has been wandering around the edge of the village like it's been sizing up something. I wonder what the yokai are planning. It's scary." End quote. From Anonymous. "There's no need for concern. This fox is merely making sure no unforward changes occur in Gensokyo, that the border experience no degradation, and performing other such checks. These duties were originally performed by Yukari Yakumo, but it seems that Yukari grew tired of them and Ran now performs them in her stead." So is the logic here that Ran got Chen as a Shikigami so that she can eventually instruct Chen to do these types of checks for her? Because Ran is also getting tired of them as well? I would laugh if that's the actual logic behind it. And because Chen is so incompetent because of how young she is, Ran is just still doing the stuff. Yes, YouTube, I am still listening to the playlist. You don't have to pause it. Also, stream is looking good. We're not having dropped frames whatsoever, and the bitrate seems to be in a decent place. Yukari controlling Ran is probably like playing an RTS game. In a sense, yeah. Or, you know, one of the most extreme versions of a D&D campaign. Which might as well be the entirety of Gensokyo now that I think about it. It's one long elaborate D&D campaign for Yukari. Just because she gets bored constantly. If I tape a Fumo to my computer, would that make it a Shikigami? As long as it's an animal Fumo. Where were we? Right. Her tail looks so warped! Rainbow Hakare. I like the implication in that Rainbow finds her tail so comforting. Of course they're warm. She's the strongest beast after all. Okay, I love that. I love this sentence right here. It's probably my favorite out of this entire article. That's probably my favorite out of this entire book. Next to Wriggle's entire section. Alright, now for the countermeasures. She's intelligent, powerful, and very fast. You should not challenge her unless you are extremely confident in your skills. Hey, I managed to beat her! So, I'm pretty certain that anybody can. Fortunately, she has a gentle personality and she takes no pleasure in self-aggrandizing combat. So, one is unlikely to be attacked beyond reason. So you're saying that she would give us hugs if we asked her to. However, you must be prepared to do battle if you disrupt her work. Never mind. We fight her in order to get the hugs. She has no particular weaknesses, but she is extremely fond of fried tofu, so you may be able to avoid combat by offering her some. I did not know that. It's probably wise to carry fried tofu with you as a good luck charm when walking animal trails. She appears in the human village from time to time, but there's no need to fear her then. She has only come to shop. Now, if I remember correctly, in the fan game, what's the fan game called? I forgot what the fan game is called. I have it right here in my desktop. It's the RPG game. Artificial Dream in Arcadia. Yeah, that's what it is. Artificial Dream in Arcadia, the Shin Megami Tensei parody with Touhou characters. If I remember correctly, someone made a reference about Ran Yakumo liking tofu. And I think you actually do go to the fried tofu shop, and they talk about Ran there. I did not know that was actually canon. Alright, now we got the Bunui. And this is around the time where her black blazer was her indignated outfit. She's wearing the black blazer with the skirt and long hair. I really like Raisin's design. It's simple, it's modern, and yet there's a lot of flair to it too. I miss the black blazer though. They stopped having her wear that after Touhou 8, which is a big shame. I've always liked it specifically. Let's go Raisin the Doong. Oh yeah. Imagine that, you create an AI to help you with things, and then the AI gets tired and makes their own AI. And it's not the AI that the human created that eventually revolts, it's the AI that the AI of the AI created that eventually revolts. We got an inverse Skynet going on here. Alright, the Lunatic Red Eyes, Raisin Udongin Inaba. Favorite name, by the way. Just the fact that it's all first names. Ability, Manipulation of Insanity. So this is around the point where, as a note, this is around the point where Raisin's ability has been denoted as Manipulation of Insanity, whereas in later source material, her ability will change. So instead of manipulating insanity, it's manipulating wavelengths specifically, which do induce a type of Vertigo-esque feel if you suffer from a prolonged effect of wavelengths. So I guess technically she still inflicts insanity, but it's a different form of insanity. Her threat level is unknown, and her human friendship level is normal. She makes friends easily. Main place of activity is the Bamboo Forest of the Lost. Raisin Udongin Inaba, the yokai rabbit whose dissimilute? Okay. Whose dissimilute with other beasts makes her all the more unusual. Okay, I have to look up this term because I have no idea what that word means. We got a new term coming here. You're using a new word in my house, Raisin? We don't take too kindly of that. Dissimilute. I'm guessing. That's a lot of eyes. Dissimilary or diversity. Okay, so she's very diverse compared to other beast yokai. Got it. Wavelengths is definitely more broad than just insanity. Yeah, instead of just being able to inflict insanity and control insanity, she now inflicts sound and stuff like that. So she's got a much wider range of repertoire when it comes to her ability now. So I think it's a much needed change. It was a decent change on Zun's behalf. So a yokai rabbit who's dissimilated from other beasts makes her all the more unusual. So she's very different compared to other beast yokai. In contrast to most beasts' feral nature, she has an upright posture. Her movement is rather slow for a beast as well. Furthermore, she does not attack humans. In fact, she tends to avoid them. She has extremely long ears and hair. She is certainly a one-of-a-kind among the yokai rabbits in all respect. Tei Inaba acts as leader of the rabbits, but she gives orders to Tei. Notation number 1. An as yet unfounded rumor is that she seems to listen to little of what she says. That's not a rumor, that's just fact. This makes her the de facto leader of the rabbits. Not really. It's said you'll go mad if you look directly into her red eyes. In addition, her voice is said to have unusual effects as well. For example, you may be unable to perceive what she's saying even if you hear her perfectly, or you may hear her as if she were whispering in your ears, even though she's far away. Thanks to phenomena such as these, it's hard to have an honest conversation with her. She can usually be found where she lives, at Yente in the bamboo forest. Her routine there, her routine there is unknown, but occasionally she can be seen in the human village selling medicine. She's well known for walking about with a large supply of dubious medical drugs. Notation number 2 is such as being frighteningly better. I'm noticing something, but I'm not going to say it until we finish the article. Lunatic ability. The ability to manipulate insanity is essentially the power to make you go mad. That is, controlling the waves that reside in all things. Okay, so they do mention the wavelength aspect of inducing insanity. So I guess in essence, her ability is the exact same, except the name of the ability is not manipulation of insanity anymore, it's just manipulation of wavelengths. Which again, is a much broader term, so I guess it makes sense. Yeah. Increasing the wavelengths, that is, making the subject carefree results in an apathetic lethargy. Decreasing the wavelengths, that is, bringing madness to the subject, results in emotional instability and leaves the subject unable to converse with others. That's kind of terrifying, actually. Increasing the amplitude results in an excess of existence, which allows her to transmit thoughts no matter how far. Decreasing the amplitude results in a rarefaction of existence, in which case one's voice will never reach another, no matter how close they are. So yeah, she can manipulate the sound of distance as well as the visionary distance. Basically, she can induce illusions at will. no matter where she is, no matter how close she is to you, you can suffer from delusions and illusions if she doesn't like you. But considering she's very standoffish against humans, but also doesn't seem to be she doesn't seem to hold any sort of animosity to humans, as evident by the fact that her human friendship level is normal. She doesn't seem like the type that would actually attack people out of nowhere. She just has a really terrifying ability. Synchronizing the waves phases causes interference to vanish, which makes it impossible to touch anything. Offsetting the phases negates existence and completely hides the subject's form. By using various effects such as these, she can induce madness. So it's not like she's manipulating the reality around her itself. She's manipulating your mind through wavelengths to induce insanity and madness, making you think that, oh, she disappears right in front of you. But in actuality, she's literally just right in front of you. And it seems to me that she could also alter your aspect of senses, like any sense. Taste, touch, smell. So even if you're right in front of her, touching her shoulder, per se, she could probably make it so you believe that you're not touching her shoulder. It's a very terrifying ability. I keep saying that, but like, wow. Raisin's ability to manipulate wavelengths is actually very terrifying, and I'm glad that she's not malicious in any way. She's a good bunny. She doesn't like to hurt people. Yeah, it's very much a more powerful version of Luna Child. In fact, I wonder if Luna Child's ability could potentially evolve into something as terrifyingly powerful as this. Yeah, she's more like a living hallucinogen. Hence why there's a lot of jokes in the fandom about her usually being on shrooms or giving people shrooms. I mean, she is also responsible of giving out the medicinal materials to the human village from Iente, so it's in line with her character. It's actually very fitting for her to be in charge of the medicinal supplies, while also having an ability that can induce insanity. Strangely fitting, even. Eyewitness reports. Quote, "It was early in the morning and I'd gone to cut bamboo in the forest. Suddenly, it feels as if all the bamboo was looking down on me. My hips started aching, then the rest of my body too. Then I saw a strange yokai rabbit. She was looking at the sky and muttering under her breath. It looked like she was talking to someone, but there was nothing there but the fallen moon. I decided to leave her because it was getting creepy, but then she turned around and realized I was there, and all of a sudden, she completely vanished. I wonder if it was just a dream." End quote. The woodcutter. Maybe it was. Perhaps. As this yokai rabbit acts in such a mysterious fashion, there is so much that is unknown about her. Notation 3. Or perhaps it was an old man being that. Alright, way to diss this guy's report. Yeah, must be on drugs. Yes, the Sybil Bennett approach. They see something weird? Must be on drugs. Countermeasures. There are no reports of this yokai attacking humans. However, she can't exactly be considered friendly either. For example, whenever she comes to the human village to sell medicines, she disappears back into the forest as soon as her work has ended. She seems to prefer the same sorts of food that humans eat. Even in this fashion, she differs from most yokai. However, one must make certain not to look directly into her eyes. Just like the full moon, they have a strange effect on humans. So maybe she can induce insanity without even purposefully doing it. Just by looking into her eyes. Akyuu, you savage woman. Also, I was waiting until the entire article was finished, but Akyuu made no remark on Raisin being a Lunarian. It's a possibility that she doesn't even know that Raisin herself is a lunar rabbit. She makes references to the fact that, well, specifically, the eyewitness source reported that Raisin was looking at the moon and muttering something creepy up there. So it's a possibility that this was her talking to one of the lunar rabbits, perhaps? But yeah, it's definitely implied that Akyuu has no idea that that Raisin, and by extension the Iente crew, are even Lunarians, which is fascinating. I guess no one told her? I guess Yukari felt like it was not important to let... Well, actually, it makes sense as to why they didn't tell Akyuu about the Lunarians. Because Akyuu's book here, the Gensokyo Chronicles, is going to be released to the public, which means all this information is going to be distributed to everyone in the human village and possibly yokai. So, yokai possibly finding out that Iente is full of a bunch of Lunarians, you know, the enemies of yokais themselves, is probably not a good thing to know about. It would probably cause some sort of panic, so I think it's actually pretty smart that no one told Akyuu about the events of Touhou 8. This is all just speculation, but I would assume that Akyuu would have written all of this down in her Gensokyo Chronicles if she actually knew about the fact that Lunarians are in Gensokyo. Anyways, we have Tei Inaba, and it is in fact spelt that way in the Japanese version. It's not a mistake, it has been transcribed exactly as found in the original source. Yeah. Tei Inaba. Cute artwork, too. I like the poofy dress. And she actually looks a lot more older than she usually does. And for some reason, she has a little string attached to her right leg. It's a cute addition, I'll give it that. Bear White Rabbit of Good Fortune. Tei Inaba. Ability can bring fortune to humans. Threat level, low. Human friendship level, normal. I would have put it at low as well. But, you know, that's just me. Main place of activity is the Bamboo Forest of the Lost. Tei Inaba is a yokai rabbit that acts as the leader of the wild rabbits. She is a rabbit who has managed to live a long life by taking good care of her health. She can assume human form and understand human speech. This yokai rabbit is also known as the Rabbit of Good Fortune, and it's said that those who see her will be blessed with good fortune. However, not only is she very fleet-footed, but she spends much of her time in the bamboo forest, so it isn't very easy to spot her. She has a very mischievous personality, but can be cowardly and shifty, as evident by Touhou 9. She is extremely emotional to the point that her personality is not unlike a fairy. It is said that she spends most of her time in the bamboo forest and lives at Iente. In fact, she has lived in the bamboo forest since before Iente was built. And it is said to be one of the longest living yokai in Gensokyo. A good reference to her being based off of the white hair of Inaba. Notation 1. Her presence has already been confirmed at the time the Gensokyo Chronicle was first compiled. So that is official information that states that Tei is at the very least older than 1,200 years. Because Yukari also is older than the original Gensokyo Chronicles. So it's very good to know. Sane would also start going to Iente to nerd about the aliens and stuff. That begs the question, does Sane know about Iente being full of Lunarians? I'm pretty sure she doesn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if she learned that after the fact. Okay, gonna have to refresh the page, because YouTube is taking a while to load the song. Boy, I sure hope that's not my connection. Let me just check OBS real quick. Okay, everything is running smoothly. Good. It's just the YouTube video that for some reason is taking a long time to load. Alright, we'll go to Complete Darkness instead. I love this song. Yeah, I don't think it's I don't remember Touhou 15 and whether or not Sane mentioned the fact that Iente was full of Lunarians, but I could be misremembering. Maybe she does. Either way, eyewitness reports. I finally found that rabbit in the bamboo forest just now. I'm sure Lady Luck will be visiting me from now on. End quote. From Anonymous. Good fortune does not last very long, so you may have exhausted your share by simply making it back safely from the forest. Oh man, that's a chip. Oh, one of my good fortune. Quote, rabbit meat is plain, so it goes well with any other side dish, end quote. Owner of Corindo. Renosuke, you should not be saying that stuff out loud. Rabbit meat is just one kind of popular cuisine in Gensokyo. Oh no, everyone eats it! It's a favorite of mine as well. Watch out for rabbits, you two. They'll be after you. Quote, even if I catch rabbits in my traps, there are never any yokai rabbits inside, end quote, by Anonymous. Of course, yokai rabbits are pretty clever. Why would anyone tell Sane? If it's not public knowledge, she'd have no way of finding out. Yeah, that's true. I guess maybe Reimu Marissa probably could have told her, but yeah, at the same time, I don't think she would be able to find out that source of information. Which is a shame, because, you know, she's the alien nerd. She geeked out when she first met Nue. I think she would totally geek out if she met up with the Iente crew and was like, oh my gosh, you're Lunarians! I used to beat you guys up all the time in Final Fantasy IV. She would be the type of person to play Final Fantasy IV. I think it's officially confirmed that Sane does in fact play Dragon Quest, or did play Dragon Quest in the real world. That and also watch Dragon Ball. I think it was Touhou 19 that specifically made those two things canon to her backstory. Gotta add more tails to your Shikigami for a smoother process. Yeah, I would assume so, Yag. By Touhou 15, at the very least, she probably found that out through word of mouth, maybe by Rainbow and Marissa. Or maybe she just went over there and asked. She seems like the type of person to just go to a random place that has a lot of mystery wrapped around it and just figure it out on her own. Countermeasures. Alright, how do we deal with Tae? Due to her reputation as a bringer of good fortune, she is usually popular among humans for a yokai, but one can't find her by ordinary means. Her inclination to stay in the bamboo forest only compounds the problem. Entering the forest to find this rabbit would certainly be reckless. The dense fog and monotonous scenery in the bamboo forest confuses your sense of direction, and the forest is full of yokai, so it's unwise to enter it unprepared. One might say that it would be good fortune enough in finding her. It may be that good fortune only visits those who were fortunate to begin with. Oof. Of course. Incidentally, compared to a 4-leaf clover, her good fortune is that of a 40-leaf clover, so she has a huge boost in her luck, apparently. Alright then, oh my gosh, we're in new territory, apparently. Encyclopedia, Theronthrope. Oh. Lycany! Oh my gosh, we're going into the Lycan type of yokai. The warped were yokai. So these are yokai that are half human, half yokai. Hence why Kane is here. She apparently made several references to Dragon Quest everywhere, or elsewhere, but I can't remember. Oh, that's neat. So I guess she's more of a Dragon Quest fan than a Final Fantasy fan. Okay. I guess we could, live and let live, Sane. You know, you have your series, I have mine. But mine is just clearly better than yours. Alright, Lycany. Usual threat level, low. Frequency of encounters, medium. Variety, normal. Places likely to be... Yeah, we get the other two. They're always everywhere and anytime. Characteristics. Therianthropes are those who normally live as humans, but become yokai under certain circumstances. When they are living as humans, this does not mean they are pretending to be humans, rather, they are practically no different from humans. Notation 1. Some mature late in life and have protracted lifespans. Fair. That's the usual when it comes to, like, werewolves and fiction and stuff like that. When they become animals, though, their physical abilities abruptly increase, and they become as powerful as beasts. However, many of them retain their memories from being human, so they are often more intelligent than beasts. While they rarely attack humans, their habitat range is nearly exact to that of humans, so caution is necessary. Don't infiltrate their bubble. Don't infiltrate their personal bubble. I'm imagining the "you're inside my personal bubble" meme, but it's just Kane who's saying it. And she's her wear Hakutaku form when she's saying it. Therianthropy can be hereditary or acquired, in contrast to the hereditary type, which is decided by lineage. Acquired therianthropy occurs by being cursed or enchanted or having a magic spell casted upon them. Numerous hereditary therianthropes assume a completely animal form when they change, but acquired ones often retain their human shape as an animal, like the typical werewolves. Also, the conditions that cause the transformation vary, but the major ones include looking at the full moon, drinking wine, becoming genuinely angry, and being doused with water. Drinking wine? Really? That's new on me. What was this note for? 3. Oh, number 2 was a save for having horns and fangs. I was confused by the fact that I didn't read 2 for some reason. I completely skipped that. But acquired ones often retain their human shape as an animal, save for having horns and fangs and tails. And as for the 3 notation, it's the resulting animals are often dogs, wolves, pandas, and piglets? Excuse me? Piglets are weak to water? Pandas are genuinely angry? I'm trying to... Huh. Like, it's insinuating that, when it says the resulting animals, that means in the order of these particular transformation, situations. So, dog is for the full moon, wolves are for drinking wine, cats... I guess since there are only 4 different types of situations that the article states about transformation, and there are 5 distinct animals, then it's not actually talking about in order of what transforms into how. So, okay, so piglets aren't weak to water, or piglets do not transform when they are doused by water. That seems a little too silly even for Touhou. Yeah, referencing pandas and piglets. We have yet to get a panda character as well as a piglet character. I'm kind of curious to see how a pig Touhou character would look like. Gotta make sure to keep your distance from Kane's no-no square. She has anxiety. Stay away. Potential harm. Destructive activity and sinus inflammation. Is that speaking from experience, Akyuu? Damage is basically on the low side. I can imagine in my head canon, Akyuu really likes wear yokai, mostly because she probably hangs out with Kane a lot. hence the fact that she's very familiar with were-hakutakus, or just were-yokai in general, and she loves to snuggle with them, but she also hates the fact that they inflammate her sinus. That's my headcanon now. Akyuu just really loves to cuddle with Fluffy Cane. Damage is basically on the low side. There are times when agitated Theranthropes lay waste to a village, but by and large, most Theranthropes coexist peacefully with humans, helping with tasks involving manual labor or using their abilities to drive away yokai. Befriending them, even as humans, has many advantages, so they are popular yokai. However, some people may experience sinus inflammation from their animal hair. Akyuu's a were-girl fluffer. Exactly. But her poor sinuses. Countermeasures. Do not show surprise or fear if a neighbor suddenly turns into an animal. It's completely normal. If one shows more fear than necessary, even a Theranthrope will become agitated, putting one in danger. At such times, stay calm and attempt to engage in natural conversation, such as, "My, your fur looks even better than usual today." Or, "Say, who did your magnificent horns? Not the Jinbei Echikoya." Whatever is appropriate for the situation. You speaking from experience, Akyuu? Did you have to do this a couple times with Cane? Oh my gosh. I'm saving this as a screenshot only because I want to draw Akyuu seeing Cane transform and her saying this. I really want to do that. There is absolutely no disadvantage to being friendly with a Theranthrope. If you suffer from sinus inflammation, tea is moderately effective, so drink it daily. That's cute. Oh, I love this Cane artwork. I remember seeing this back in the day. It's so awesome. Cane is one of those characters that I really like conceptually and design-wise. It's just a damn shame that she stopped appearing in pretty much anything official after Touhou 8. You'd think she would be an important character considering she's the guardian of the village. And she's deep into the village's politics and all that. As well as being a character that can tap into the history of the entirety of Gensokyo. Again, really interesting character, but they never bring her back for anything. Wait a minute, if Cane knows all history, what is the point of Akyuu's entire... See, we're gonna have to ask you to shut up there. I'm kidding. I think the implication is that because Cane is there, Akyuu is able to gather more information for her Gensokyo Chronicles. So Cane is like an asset more than just a replacement for the Gensokyo Chronicles. And there's also the possibility that Cane probably didn't exist after or before the conception of the Chronicles. So she might have been a brand new yokai that appeared recently. Although again, it begs the question why the Gensokyo Chronicles are needed. So I'm with you there. Akyuu needs to up her Riz game, man. Yeah, she needs to learn how to deal with more of these fluffers. And Cane's just the woman for the job. History-eating half-beast, Cane Kamishirasawa. A last name that I will always recognize, for some reason, despite it being really, really long. Ability, power to consume history in her human form, and power to create history in her beast form. Please tell me they will actually explain how her ability to create history is, and how it works. Please tell me they'll explain it, because even I don't really understand it myself. Threat level is low, and human friendship level is high, which makes sense. She is a instructor in the human village. Main place of activity is in fact the human village. Rich in knowledge, the wisest of the Theranthropes is Cane Kamishirasawa. Upon seeing the full moon, she will transform into a Hakutaku. Notation 1. Incidentally, it's an acquired characteristic. Yes, Cane is very much an acquired taste, is what Akyuu is trying to say. A Hakutaku is a yokai which appears to virtuous rulers at the beginning of their reign, warning them of future calamities and guiding them on the path of righteousness. She can erase history when human, and when she becomes Hakutaku, she can create history. Gensokyo's history is one created by her. Excuse me? What? Gensokyo's history is one created by her. What the heck does that mean? Okay, notation 2. The Hieda family's Gensokyo Chronicles is beyond her powers. Thus, it is not her history, but ours. Okay, I guess that explains why the Gensokyo Chronicles is important. Because it's technically more powerful than what Kane can manipulate. Does that imply that Kane can't manipulate the content that's inside the Gensokyo Chronicles when she becomes her Hakutaku form? I think that's the implication that we're supposed to be getting from this. But this sentence right here, Gensokyo's history is one created by her. What the heck does that mean? Does that mean that she created most of the history within Gensokyo? Let's keep reading. Regarding history, things do not become history merely by happening. Things do not become history unless someone records it as history. She can fabricate history that didn't happen, or conversely, erase from history events which actually did happen. Which might be a not so subtle jab at historians and how they romanticize certain aspects of history while also degrading certain factors about it, which ultimately changes the information of historical events from the past. My biggest example of that will always be the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era, where because of how historians were biased over one particular nation, the other nations were deflamed as evil and corrupt. It's actually a very serious matter in the historian community, so I wouldn't be surprised if Kane and her ability is a subtle jab at that. So I guess the logic here is that once a history is recorded through mystical and supernatural means, Kane cannot manipulate said history, which is why the Gensokyo Chronicles, which is written by a supernatural reincarnated person, the information written in there can't be manipulated by other means. At least that's what I'm getting from this information. Meaning that Kane still can manipulate other facets of history beyond anything that's written inside of the Gensokyo Chronicles. So she could technically manipulate the factors of Gensokyo's origins that isn't archived. At least, again, that's the logic that I'm understanding. This is very complicated, and I actually quite like this. I'm glad that they went into detail about Kane's ability and how it works alongside Akyuu's. Akyuu canonically makes Touhou fanfics, so now I wonder if she has ever made her ex-Kane fanfic. Well, you best believe if she writes it down in the Gensokyo Chronicles, then it's going to be 100% canon, and Kane can't change it one bit. She was bitten, cursed. How did this nonsense happen? You can't just drop this Kane lore and not elaborate. Exactly! She can't fabricate history. She can fabricate history that didn't happen, or conversely erase from history incidents that actually did happen. History is reality, seen from a single point of view. It would not be too much to say the power of the Hakutaku is used to create favorable histories for those virtuous rulers. She lives in the human village. Yeah, again, I am like 75% convinced that Kane and this whole article is just a jab at historians and their corrupt actions on trying to alter and change history to see fit to their own agendas. Because by gosh, that is exactly what happened with the Three Kingdoms era in China. Interesting, okay. We're not getting Cain lore and her origin, but we're certainly getting some interesting outlooks on Zune and how he feels about history in general. She lives in the human village where she runs a temple school and records history there every day. Such is her profession. Notation 3. She also has close relations with the Hieda family. The vast quantity of information the Hieda family has collected over 1,000 years is useful for her lessons. Okay, so she uses Akyuu's actual books, or the Hieda books in general, to teach. That's cool. Eyewitness reports. Quote, "The temple school lessons are difficult to understand, tedious, and really boring. Can't you do something?" End quote. The leader's son. Wait, there's a leader in the human village? Interesting. She is not good at entertaining others. Oof. She's only good at entertaining me. Quote, "So why don't you come to the temple school, Akyuu?" End quote. Floris's daughter. "If I were the one teaching, it would certainly be more interesting." Ouch! Just straight up dissing Cain out of nowhere. But a lesson is meaningless if it's merely interesting. Huh. You know what? That's actually a fair statement. I like how it started with her dissing Cain and then immediately complimenting her. Wow. They're a great couple. Problematic couple of Touhou, you know? Every single series needs to have a problematic couple. Touhou is apparently Akyuu and Cain, as well as Zanmu and Hisame. But that is my headcanon. Quote, "No, that's not what I meant. As a student," end quote. Oh, the conversation continuing. Well, I already know everything she teaches. Most of the lessons are a summary from my records, anyway. Yeah, but would it be fun to go to school, Akyuu? Countermeasures. Although she's a little stubborn, since she has no ill will towards humans, there's no need to be afraid. However, if you forget your homework, a fearful punishment is waiting. Such as a headbutt. Ooh! So that's where that meme comes from. She's often seen since she normally lives in the human village. At that time, you should greet her. It seems that she dislikes people who are discourteous, as she becomes a Hakutaku on the night of the full moon, she becomes a Hakutaku on the night of the full moon. As she has a month of work on which to catch up on at this time, she is often on edge, therefore refrain from visiting her on nights of the full moon. When she has grown horns, her headbutts are painful. Speaking from experience, Akyuu? Yeah, that's totally my headcanon now. Akyuu x Cain. That's actually very, very cute. She was bitten? Cursed? I know, right? We never actually learned how she became a Hakutaku. But the fact that she is a half Hakutaku implies that she did used to be human, at the very least. And also the fact that she is not a full animal when she transforms, she is a half werebeast, which I think the Encyclopedia for Lycanthropy did in fact mention that. That if a yokai transforms into a full animal, that means they were born a werebeast. If they transform into a half beast, then that means they used to be human but were probably cursed. At least if I remember correctly. Also, I'd like to make note that Cain is the only Lycany in the series at this point when the book was released. No werewolf, unfortunately. That's not until later. Yeah, honestly, I always thought these two were portrayed to be close only in fanworks. But the fact that there is, in fact, official content that states that Akyuu and Cain do know each other, at least to some degree, it's actually really cute. You know what? I ship it. Alright, so now we're moving on to the vampires. The The embodiments of charisma. Because of course, that's what it would be called. We're about to have our charisma breaks, baby. Vampires. Usual threat level, very high. Frequency of encounters, low. And variety is very low. Places like... yeah, we get the picture. Times likely to be encountered, night. I like the fact that their variety is very low because there are only 2 vampires in Gensokyo. Remilia and Flandra. So yeah, they are obviously very low, but considering they are vampires, they are still an incredibly high threat. Characteristics. Of the newer yokai that have emerged only within the last few centuries, vampires are among the strongest of them, strong enough to take part in the power balance of Gensokyo by now. Notation 1. The other consists in individual yokai. Yokai living in the mountains, Tengu, Kappa, and such, humans, and animals. Yeah. So those are the particular types of, those are the particular type of, beings that, have a hold on the power balance of Gensokyo. During the day, they spend their time in their mansion, and once night comes, they become active. They are the lords of the night. Their main diet consists of the blood of humans. Those whose blood has been sucked by one will either die, nor become a ghost. They will turn into a zombie for a while before evaporating under the sunlight. Ooh. So they won't even transform into a vampire. They'll just die. Or at the very least evaporate into nothingness. That's incredibly morbid. Or when Akyuu says zombie, does that mean that they also turn into vampires and zombie is just a term that they're using to... I don't know why it's called... I don't know why she's saying they turn into zombie. Doesn't really make much sense, but okay. They went on a rampage when they first appeared in Gensokyo, lost against powerful yokai, and settled down after agreeing to a contract. Number 2. A devil's contract is absolute, thus one can never betray it. Hence why the contract will never be broken. This contract we'll talk about later on in the book, but yeah, it's a very important contract, just to make a little note there. The details of this contract are that the yokai will offer them humans from... oh, I guess we're getting into it right now. Never mind. The details of the contract are that the yokai will offer them humans from which to feed. In return, the vampires will not attack humans living in Gensokyo. Notation number 3, it is said these humans are humans from the outside world or those whose deaths are of no consequence, suicidal, etc. Yeah, so the whole information about Yukari being able to spirit humans away from the real world and bring them into Gensokyo is evidenced by the devil's contract here. So where do all the humans that the vampires are fed come from? Well, obviously, the outside world. And Yukari seems to be responsible for bringing these humans here so that the vampires and also other yokai can feast on them. And it's specifically humans who have no importance, basically anyone who is whose deaths are of no consequences, suicidal, etc. So basically suicidal people, criminals, and the societal undesirables. It's an interesting bit of lore, which makes Touhou and Gensokyo as a whole incredibly more morbid than it initially was, as if it couldn't have gotten worse. Yeah, you definitely... You don't want to live in Gensokyo, especially if you're just a normal human. It's not a nice place. It's not a good place. It's not even a very lukewarm place. It's just a terrible place to live. But that's what makes it so interesting. They just become Minecraft zombies. Yes, with their constant sounds. Oh gosh, the Scarlet Devil Mansion must sound incredibly annoying in the middle of the night. Reimu's shrine on the other side of the lake. She could just constantly hear whenever Remilia's awake. I don't know why, but I love that. I love that mental image. Yeah, because she did mention that it was an acquired one. Kane's particular features are an acquired taste. Or was it the fact that she became aware Hakutaku by acquired means? Actually, you know what? Let's go back. I didn't actually pay attention to that part. She will transform into a Hakutaku under the full moon. Incidentally, it's an acquired characteristic. Okay, I was just thinking about... I was assuming Akyuu was just mentioning her features. You know, it's an acquired taste. You know, the fact that she's fluffy. You know, not everyone will like it. But no, it's an acquired characteristic, which means that she acquired the ability to become a Hakutaku later on in her life. So that confirms it, that she is in fact... that Kane used to be a human, but then became the Hakutaku. Alright, well, that clears something up at least. Something that I was very much unaware of. Basically, Yukari gives Remy Class D personnel from the SCP. Oh man, a Touhou SCP crossover actually sounds pretty cool. In concept, both franchises are very similar in the way their world works. Every night, Reimu's gotta clear around her shrine before she can sleep. She just has a bunch of pillows lined up to use as earplugs. Okay, where were we? The contract. In return, the vampires will not attack humans living in Gensokyo. Of course, the contract remains in effect to this day, which is why Remilia does not eat any of the humans or suck their blood in Gensokyo. Vampires have tremendous physical abilities and magical power. They are able to uproot a 1,000-year-old tree single-handedly, to run through the human village within the blink of an eye, to summon many devils with a single word, to turn into bats or even mist to intrude anywhere they please, and they can recover within a single night even when their body is blown away, so long as their head is intact. Alright, well that's a weakness. Their head. As long as you destroy the head, you can deal with the vampires, no problem. Also, that song is incredibly repetitive, and it immediately gave us yet another repetitive song, so I'm gonna skip that one too. Oh boy, Mystic Square, I like this song. Alright, this one's good, this one could stay. There are multiple Touhou SCPs already, I think. Really? Okay, I'll have to look that up later, because that sounds awesome. Plus, I have a friend who's really into SCPs, so I think this information would actually be really beneficial for him to know about. Some yokai have abilities to this level of power, but only vampires are known to possess all of them. Because of this, they have charisma of the highest class. Yes, they have amazing charisma. However, perhaps due to their extraordinary abilities, they have many weaknesses. First, they are weak against sunlight, so they are docile during the day. Neither can they move through flowing water. Yeah, that's right, the vampires in this franchise have consumed the devil fruit. They got the weakness of Luffy and all the devil fruit users. So they are docile on rainy days. They cannot cross rivers. They can't approach a sardine head or a broken holly branch. Okay, that's new on me. Their skin will be burned if someone throws roasted soybeans at them. Not the soybeans! Yeah, Remilia is such a soy boy. However, they seem to like natto, fermented soybeans. Alright, so they're just very, very picky, apparently. Potential harm. disaster. Just disaster. You know what? That speaks for itself. Those as powerful as vampires are usually forbidden to directly assault humans, so they aren't so dangerous even if you happen to meet one. Instead, they cause many disasters that affect the whole of Gensokyo. They can create abnormalities in everything, including natural phenomena without warning, for selfish reasons, which will always lead to endangering human lives no matter what is affected. Most of these reasons are out of mere curiosity, and they will cease once they tire of it. Yeah, they get bored very, very easily, apparently. Countermeasures. Once a disaster has occurred, there is no choice but to seek help from a specialist who has the power to resolve it. The only thing an average human can do is find a way to survive. Aside from these times, vampires are relatively polite. They are usually not a threat, but that doesn't mean you should anger them. You shouldn't do something that strikes one of their weaknesses, even by accident. So, Sumireko accidentally feeding Remilia garlic was a bit of a mistake in Artificial Dreams in Arcadia, so yeah. A half-hearted attack will only result in enraging them. In order not to unintentionally offend them, it's necessary to have a thorough knowledge of their weaknesses. So I guess if garlic doesn't actually work. There she is! Oh, that's some cute artwork of her. Oh, we even got some kinks for people who enjoy fetishes, apparently. Why does she have her shoe off? I don't get it. Oh, actually, it's just like I said. It's for the people who like that. I love the artist, though, who makes these particular drawings. I don't know who they are. I wonder if the book actually credits them. But pretty great artwork, I gotta say, for all the characters. Yeah, Vampire and Onis somewhat relate in Touhou. Are somewhat related in Touhou, mainly in the weakness parts with the sardine and stuff. Yeah. I noticed with the weakness to beans, both of them have that very distinct and very specific weakness. I guess Patchouli has the... Looks like Patchouli has the knowledge she needs to deal with her friend. Because she knows that Onis are weak to beans, and I think after the events of Touhou 7.5, she started creating Danmaku made out of beans. So, you know, she can combat against the Onis and her best friend. Alright, the Scarlet Devil, Remilia Scarlet. Her ability is Manipulation of Fate, which is a very interesting ability. Threat level very high and human friendship level very low. So sorry guys, you can't give her a hug. Main place of activity is around the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Remy want to show off her lady charms. Yeah, the lady charms that she knows everyone is into. If one refers to vampires that are known to exist in Gensokyo, they must be the Scarlet family living in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Its mistress is the Scarlet Devil, Remilia Scarlet. Alright, already one note. She was called the Scarlet Devil before coming to Gensokyo. This came from the fact that she often spills blood and stains her white clothes. So it's like an accidental nickname. It's not because, oh, I got this nickname by being the ultimate overlord of all darkness and scarlet. I am the ultimate devil. No, it's just because she's a messy eater. Very fitting for someone like Remilia. Her appearance and behavior might seem childish, but she has actually lived for more than 500 years and possesses amazing physical powers, as vampires do. She's short and looks as a little girl under the age of 10, but she has wings with a span wider than her height. Yeah, they're so big. And by looking at her silhouette, she may seem quite large. Her ego is large as well. Her actions are similarly childlike, and combined with her amazing strength and inexhaustible curiosity, make her a fearsome devil that may explode at times. She sleeps during the day in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. At night, she takes walks or hosts a party and has as much fun as she can before becoming tired and returning to her slumber. It is not sure whether or not she is using her ability to manipulate fate consciously, but it is said misfortune will befall those who are merely in her vicinity, and she can cause great change in the state of the daily lives of others with but a word. For example, becoming more likely to encounter rare things. Actual results may vary, but there are no visible indications of which her ability is an effect. So it's, in a way, it's kind of similar to Tay, except not really, and there's an implication that she actually is not able to control it, but also not really. It's a very confusing ability from what I'm gathering. But still interesting nonetheless. Alright, so, anecdotes about this yokai. Scarlet Mist Incident. Oh boy, we're getting into the big thing. The incident led to many humans learning of the existence of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. There was an incident where Gensokyo was shrouded in a deep red mist, so sunlight could not reach the earth, leading to a summer with low temperatures. Merely inhaling the mist will make you feel sick, and this led to people being unable to leave not only the human village, but even their homes over the course of several days. It was Remilia behind the appearance of this mist, with the selfish intent of blocking the sunlight so that she could remain active during the day as well. It is said that in the end, the Shrine Maiden of the Hakure Shrine and Marisa Kirasame, the Ordinary Magician, punished her to bring an end to this incident. In my playthrough, I used Marissa to punish her, so yeah. It's gonna be the running theme for pretty much the rest of the Touhou streams. If they mentioned that Rainbow was the one that solved this incident, I'm just gonna come in and say, well, actually, it was Marissa, but, you know, who's counting? She can control fate. Source, trust me, bro. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, her ability is one that is very confusing, to the point where it's even theorized that it might not even be an actual ability, and she's just boasting about it, because she seems to be the type. She has an incredible ego, so it would make sense for her to want to tell about this incredible ability that she has that may or may not even exist. Eyewitness reports. Quote, I saw her at a cherry blossom viewing party. She was using a parasol. If she's weak to sunlight, why doesn't she wait until night? End quote, anonymous. She is a vampire who is often spotted in the daytime as well. It seems that parasols are ideal in blocking ultraviolet rays. I like the fact that the entire plot of Touhou 6 was Remilia blocking out the sun so that she could actually walk around and travel through Gensokyo during the day, when all she really needed to do in order to do that was get a parasol so that she could block out the sun. But again, she's so egotistical and so egomaniacal that she would totally go through the whole roundabout method of straight up blocking out the sun instead of just carrying a dinky little parasol everywhere. It's very in line with her character. Quote, I saw her at a cherry blossom viewing party at night. I guess she does it then since she's weak to sunlight. End quote, anonymous. Rather, it is highly possible she was at viewing parties for the entire day. Yeah, maybe she doesn't get tired very easily. Quote, I was wounded and could barely move, but someone from the Scarlet Devil Mansion helped me and let me lodge in. They call it the Devil's Mansion, but she was unexpectedly kind. However, there wasn't anything much to eat, and since it was very noisy during the night, I couldn't sleep, so I ran away as soon as I could. End quote, by Anonymous. Vampires are surprisingly polite, especially since they try not to eat the humans in Gensokyo. However, it might be that your fate to die like an animal has been altered. So maybe Remilia actually saved this random human. Oh. Notation 3. Depending on how she changes fate, you might even become a half-human, half-yokai. Oh, that's a lot of assuming there, Akyuu. I'm not sure if that's true or not. We're gonna need a citation on that. But that's interesting. The fact that Remilia actually saved this random passerby human and actually brought them into the Scarlet Devil Mansion. I mean, for all intents and purposes, despite her being super egotistical and going out of her way to go through the extremes to do what she wants, she is still very polite, and she treats Reimu and Marissa pretty well. Especially when they go to parties and visit the Scarlet Devil Mansion. You know, besides the occasional Danmaku battle, but that's just how Gensokyo is. Symposium and Bohemian Archive makes her ability questionable as well. It's good to know that that's a trend, and that seems to be the running theme with Remilia. Countermeasures. Although she is a yokai with many weak points, it is not a good idea to exploit them and agitate her. Since she cannot be exterminated under normal circumstances, you will most likely anger her and simply be blown away. Since she has abundant curiosity, she may choose to invite humans to her parties, or play in the human village on a whim. However, because she's childish, you must be careful not to render her in a bad mood, otherwise there may be terrifying consequences. You will have to put up with her selfishness. She thinks that nobody is her superior to, or that, let me start that over. You will have to put up with her selfishness. She thinks that nobody is her superior to her, or is superior to her. Not only among humans, but among yokai as well. Because of her haughty attitude, she is friendly to no one. Well, I mean, that's a bit of a hypocritical statement, Akyuu, because just earlier you did say she was polite. Right, and we have the final vampire too. And this will probably be the last article we read for the day, since we finally made it to page 80, yay! That is the big speculation Akyuu threw there. Indeed. Sister of the Devil, Flandre Scarlet. Cool artwork too. She has a very tiny skirt compared to her other iterations, which does show off her legs, so. I like the style of the art, and because of the inking, you can definitely tell this is made by the same person, the same artist, who drew the artwork for 17.5. You can tell by the ink blops all over the place that this is in fact the same artist. It's very interesting to see his iteration of Flandre back in the day, and then go to like Touhou 17.5 and see his most recent iteration, and you can definitely see the change in style as well as the change in the character design. I actually quite like Flandre with the short skirt. Makes her look adorable. Sister of the Devil, Flandre Scarlet. Ability, destruction of anything and everything. Threat level, very high. Human friendship level, very low. I think that's on par with Yuka, actually. No, actually, Yuka, it was considered the worst. She had a completely different category associated with her. Main place of activity is the Scarlet Devil Mansion. There are two vampires in the Scarlet Devil Mansion, the older sister and the mansion's mistress, Remilia Scarlet, and her younger sister, Flandre Scarlet. Flandre seldom leaves the Scarlet Devil Mansion, but her existence has been confirmed by humans that enter in on occasion. Perhaps she is locked away, but it's also rumored she's a shut-in. One of the earliest mentions of her being a shut-in, which has been made canon thanks to 17.5, as well as what's the recent Cheating Detective Satori manga, where she does make an appearance in as well. She has unusual 7-colored wings, and her hair is a light blonde color, but her build and apparent age are similar to that of her older sister Remilia. The two wings on her back are of an irregular shape unlike those of any living creature, yokai or ghost. She has few friends even among the yokai of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, and spends most of her time in isolation. Even her older sister Remilia is seldom seen together with her. Oh, that's unfortunate. As a result, much about her is shrouded in mystery. It is said that she possesses the ability to destroy anything at all, even without touching them. Everything that is made for her to play with ends up broken, so she probably doesn't have many playmates. Her method of destroying things so effortlessly involves pouring her power into the eyes of any material where its tension is the highest. Okay? She can use her ability to cause these eyes to move into the palm of her hand. In other words, by crushing the eye held within her hand, she causes things to break. It's a truly frightening ability with no real weakness. When she clenches her fist, the subject breaks. Yeah, so she can break anything, including immortals. Well, some immortals. She can't break the Lunarian immortals specifically. Most objects, if all objects, all materials, and pretty much anything conceptually. Her ability is a very, very strong one. Which is why she rarely uses it, and only uses it in one specific instance that I can think of, which is later on in this franchise. Honestly, Flawn's wings are probably the biggest mystery in Touhou. That's what I was about to say. Like, okay, it mentions that her wings are abnormal and unique compared to any other yokai or living thing. So what the heck are they? Are those natural? Are those man-made or vampire-made? Why is it filled with crystals? Why is it just a single bone structure? Well, maybe the bone structure is because her wings probably gave up and... You know, my headcanon is that her wings eventually burned up, and so the crystals are a sort of replacement for her. And she doesn't necessarily need the wings because everyone already has the ability to fly, so she can just fly innately. That's my headcanon at the very least. Very loose headcanon that I just came up with on the spot. Because, let's be honest, there's no other explanation for her wings other than they just look cool. Alright, so the eyewitness reports. Oh, Marissa. Quote. Sometimes when I sneak into the Scarlet Devil mansion like I own it, does it, I run into the little sister, does it. I had to slip by without drawing her attention, but after going through all that to get into the place, I was hoping I wouldn't run into her, does it? What a terribly selfish report. Yes. Yes, it is. Reimu. I doubt she can fly with those wings. It is plausible she cannot. Don't worry, everyone is able to fly even without wings. Exactly what Akyuu says.
Even without wings, I can still fly.
Beerus was Flandra the whole time. Yeah, similar power structure. Quote, I saw her shadow wandering around the mansion while I was at an outdoor party at the Scarlet Devil Mansion. It was truly frightening. I knew it was her just from the silhouette, but she doesn't get to join many parties. End quote by Anonymous. Almost like something from a horror story. Hey, see what you did there, Zune? She's the and then there were none. And then there was Flandre. Countermeasures. Since it's unlikely anyone will ever see or meet her, there isn't anything of which to be aware of, but all you need to remember is that there are 2 vampires that live in the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Even if her older sister Remilia is away, you should remember that there's another vampire inside the mansion, and not sneak in unprepared. There are many mysteries to her abilities, and such simple things as the range of her ability and how to defeat her are unknown. The one thing that can be said is that it is extremely dangerous ability. On top of that, she also possesses the unusual superhuman strength attributed to vampires, so it would surely be impossible to put up a fight against her. No doubt. Alright, well, we are now at page 82. that was a good read. We got a lot of more information on characters throughout Gensokyo. We got to learn more about Kane. We got to learn a lot about Yukari Yakumo and her history relating to Gensokyo. I did not expect them to talk about the Lunar War in her article, as well as the fact that she is a yokai sage, or specifically a sage of Gensokyo. Again, a term that we will have to remember for later Touhou streams. The Sages of Gensokyo. The Magician Encyclopedia was a great read as well. And I specifically really liked the encyclopedia about Beast Yokai, although there seems to be some pages here. Nekomata? Oh, this is just information related to the specific beasts that I guess didn't actually have their own articles. So, peering a bit into the future articles, we have a couple characters left, as well as certain concepts, interesting concepts, mind you, as well as the Touhou 9 characters. And then we have a bunch of other articles relating to the humans and dangerous areas. Ooh, we get to learn about the areas of Gensokyo. Okay, including Korindo. Ooh. And Renosuke. Oh, wow. Okay, maybe I should stop looking forward. There's a lot of interesting information that we are going to be learning about next time. Yes, it's gonna be spoopy. Missed opportunity, though. Probably should have done this around the time of Halloween. But it is what it is. So looking at the danger level chart, I want to confirm this. Yeah, Yuka Kazami is considered the worst when it comes to friendship level. And Flandre Scarlet and Remilia Scarlet are surprisingly higher than Medicine Melancholy and Mystia Lorelei. That's a little surprising. Medicine I can believe, but Mystia? I guess the fact that she owns a Lamprey stand isn't really that important, so okay, I guess that makes sense. Interestingly enough, Yukari Yakumo and Reizunu Dongen Inaba are considered unknown for their power level, or danger level. Makes sense for Yukari. Also makes sense for Raisin in a very interesting way because, again, as I mentioned during Raisin's article, Akyuu doesn't know that she's a Lunarian, that she's a lunar rabbit. And considering the fact that that mystery is interwoven around Raisin, it would make sense as to why Akyuu has no idea where to place her. So that's good to know. Alright, well, this was a good session. I'm guessing it's because encountering Mystia Medicine is more possible. You know what? That's true. Yeah. Considering the fact that the Scarlet Sisters are only stationed in the Scarlet Devil Mansion, you won't necessarily have to worry about them in terms of being friends unless you enter into the Scarlet Devil Mansion. And even then, it's established that Remilia is at the very least polite. Medicine Melancholy and Mystia Lorelei, however, are yokais that you can encounter on the road, so yeah, I can see now why they're considered lower on the friendship level compared to the other two. Who's on the high level, I wonder? Yeah, Lily White, the Prison River Sisters, Alice Margatroyd, Kane, obviously, Yomu, and eventually we're going to meet Yuyuko, and apparently she's pretty high too. High in both categories, actually. The danger level and the human friendship level. Alright, well, next time we will be reading more of Perfect Memento in strict sense. We have all the way up to 166, although technically 165 pages. So I'm thinking next time we'll start at page 82 and go all the way up to maybe 110. We'll see about 110. That seems to be a good stopping point considering there's a lot of information that we're going to be reading after this. Again, my apologies that the stream had a lot of technical difficulties. Considering we haven't had any dropped frames after lowering the bitrate, I'm thinking this is probably where I'm going to be keeping it for the rest of the streams. I'm gonna have to sacrifice the fact that the Touhou streams will probably not look as good as they used to, and I am fine with that. But I will also eventually be updating my, I'll be updating my Shikigami. I'll be updating my PC so that it'll be much better, and it can probably sustain higher performing games. So look forward to that. In terms of the next live stream for Perfect Memento in strict sense, I'm thinking we'll probably stream this either on Thursday or Friday, no later than Saturday. Also, I should make a quick note. We won't be getting back into the mainline Touhou games, which will be Touhou 10. We won't be getting back into those until February. I'm going to be taking a little break from Touhou after we complete Perfect Memento Strict Sense, and by extension, Luna Nights, because I will be playing Luna Nights after this. As like a little side dish for the main course of the Touhou streams. So again, look forward to February, where we continue with the rest of the mainline games. With that said, thank you guys for joining this session, and I hope you enjoyed learning about this really interesting information, and I can't wait to upgrade my Shikigami. Oh man. Also, yes, I will be making artwork of Kane. Okay, it's a couple of art pieces. Specifically, it's Kane yelling about her personal space. Akyuu giving compliments to Kane while she's in her Werehog Kotaku form. And what was the other one? Oh, there was another one. I think it had to do with the vampires. I'll look back at the stream later just to figure it out. But yeah, I'm definitely drawing those things. That'll be fun. But yeah. Look forward to next time. So yeah, see you later, freak. Alright, hope you guys have a good night, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Also, fitting music to play at the end of the stream.